Hey y'all, it's Mika J, and I wanted to talk about hosting events. Now the weather is getting warmer. You're going to see more events taking place, indoor, outdoors, whatever. And so this is for like the vendors, people, entrepreneurs, people that go from place to place, set up tables at events, and they make profit from it. So I just wanted to give you some tips because I've hosted some events in the past and I've participated in many events. So if you're thinking about planning an event, hosting an event on your own, then I just wanted to give you some tips. Now, everything that I'm saying is not in stone. I'm just sharing with you the way that I've done things and what worked for me in the past. So some may agree, some may not. So I just want to share with you what worked for me. Okay, so anytime you're thinking about hosting an event, I would just check the calendar, make sure you don't have anything else going on in your town, your area, whatever, during that time because you want your event to be all about you. It's kind of hard to have an event when somebody else is having an event and there's another big event because that is going to determine how many people come to your event. So, as I said, check the calendar. Okay? So, what I did when I first started, when I knew that I wanted to be a vendor, what I did was I went and got me a certificate of ownership, which, my business name belongs to me. So nobody else can have that name. And I went and got me a tax ID, and that comes with, the EIN number. And so once you get that, you want to start paying taxes. And I did this because I wanted to take my, business to a whole nother level where I wanted to travel, be, out and about in the public, and I also have a vendor's license too. And you don't have to have all that. It depends on what level you're trying to take. If you're just trying to get you a little side hustle and little business and just pop up at local events, most likely you don't need all that. But I just did what I wanted to do. So I went out and purchased me a 10 by 10 pop-up tent. That's needed for a lot of big festivals and stuff. They would like for you to have a tent, and you'll see how convenient having a tent is once you set up. So a 10 by 10 pop-up tent is about you can get them for $100 or less. It depends on what's going on. Now would be a good time to start looking, or in the winter time would be a good time to look. And let's see what else you would need. A square reader, something to process credit cards, because you don't want to miss out on a sale because you don't take credit cards. And not too many people nowadays really carry cash on them. So you always want to be prepared for that. Okay? So then I went out and got me a 8-foot folding table. And actually I got a few of them. I got about 3. So I got one table set up in my house, and then one I just had just to carry, if I had to bring my own table. You can get a 8-foot table, or even a 6-foot table. You can get them at Walmart, Target, whatever, for about $30 to $40, whatever. So they're not too expensive. And then you can also use them for other things too, like if you have birthday parties or something, or just some type of event at your house or whatever. For a spread, having parties. They're good to have. So I use mine for vendor events. So you want to invest in getting some bags. A lot of people don't think about this stuff until the time happens. So get you some plastic bags so you can bag your product in. You can go anywhere. You probably order something online and go to Dollar Tree and get you a bunch of bags. And let's see what else. Business cards. It's always good to have business cards too, because you might get some repeat shoppers. You see somebody at an event or a festival and they got your card, then they can call you at a later time if they want to buy something else. And okay, let's see. So now we're going to lead up to the day of the event. Or not lead up to the day of the event, but far as booking a venue. What's worked best for me in the past is hotels. Hotels, they have the conference room, and then you're also getting the hotel traffic, not only the traffic that you're advertising for, but you'll also get the hotel traffic too, the visitors and, employees. So usually conference rooms rent, just depends on how big the conference room is. But I've seen some as cheap as $50 to, the average price I've seen locally, maybe $150, $200 or something like that. Okay, you're going to host an event. Decide how many hours you want to host it for. And the hotels that I've worked with in the past, they have been pretty good with me about allowing me to have wine, because I would host sipping shops. And so they were pretty cool with me having wine and stuff. And they had like a nice little setup. Some conference rooms even had like a little kitchen area too. So I would have food and stuff like that. And you can get your wine. One time I even made my own sangria, and that was a big hit. So between that and buying wine, just whatever you prefer. And then as far as food, you can make your own finger foods. You can have something catered. It just depends on what your budget is like. I mean, you could put an event together for $200 or less. And then, let's see what else. Decorations. I mean, you can, you don't have to. The hotel provides the linen, the tables and stuff. So, you really don't have to do all the extra stuff as far as decorating, I mean, you can, to make it look nice. Okay. So, the day of the event. What to look for the day of the event. Now, your nerves are going to be on 10 because you want this thing to go right. Hopefully you've been doing your advertising and stuff like that. Now, if you are a host of the event, it is your responsibility to do the advertising. I just feel like vendors should not have to work harder than you to advertise. I mean, sure, if you're a vendor, you can let people know where you're going to be on this date, but it's not up to the vendor to go all around advertising. That's your job. You're the one hosting the event, so you need to do that. And then, set a reasonable vendor fee too. You don't want to set the bar too high because then you might not get the turnout. Now, what I did in the past, I would host events and I would only charge $25 per table. Most people only need one table, and that $25 covered, the cost of the room, and then it also provided, covered food and stuff, food and wine. And then, basically the food and wine is for anybody, but of course vendors, you're going to be the ones there, so you're going to be the ones, reaping the benefits more, for the food and the wine. And like I would host my events for about like 6 hours, up to 6 hours. So that's a long time to be somewhere and be hungry and thirsty. So, I would provide refreshments and foods and, things like that. So, there'll be like heavy appetizers like wings, meatballs, potato skins, stuff like that, chips, dip, water, soda, juice, wine, cookies, stuff like that. I mean, you do what's best for you, but I'm just telling you what I've done. Okay, so the day of the event, a lot of times hotels will let you come like the day before, because usually the night before they don't really have nothing going on, and they'll let you kind of set up the tables how you want them and stuff like that. And the staff is usually pretty helpful, so I kind of get an idea how I want everything set up. And so usually like I send out like an email, to the vendors letting them know how the setup is going to be or whatever. And usually the tables are first come, first serve. So I would tell them like, okay, if you want to come that morning and claim your table and then come back later and set up, mark your table or whatever. I can't do it for you. I'm too busy. I got too much other stuff to do to be worried about what, who's going to be where. So that's your responsibility, vendors. So the day of the event, I have, my bags, my business cards. If you're selling accessories or anything like that, have a mirror, things like that. And then it's also very important, keep track of your inventory, because the venue, nobody's going to be responsible for, damage, theft, anything. People do steal, so keep track of your inventory. Okay, so, and then you also want to come prepared with some change, the break change, stop at the bank, break down $100, even if you don't have much money before the event, if you could just get change for 20, if you got $20, get a 10, a 5, and 5 ones or something. Just start off with that. You know, if you got $100, usually I just have, depends on what type of event it is, you know, I break down. Usually I just break down like $100, you know, 50 ones, you know, 4 5s, and, you know, and the rest in 10s, or just something like that. Because you'll build up from there, but you at least want to be able to make change. Because it irks the hell out of me when I host an event or I'm at an event and a vendor is not prepared and they come up to me like, you got change for a 20. Now, you knew good and well when this event was going to be. Why are you coming asking me? Because that means if I give you my change, if I only got a little and I give you what I got, then I could be in the same situation you in because you're not prepared. So come prepared with change. You know, even if it's $20, you can borrow $20 from somebody if you ain't got it. You know, if you ain't got the money, then you probably should be reevaluating being in an event anyway. But get some change, though. Okay? So these are things that, you know, I do, you know, as far as hosting events and stuff. I make sure the people got something to eat, got something to drink. You know, make sure the place is Wi-Fi friendly, because believe it or not, you know, that affects your credit card processing. If you're processing credit cards and stuff, if you're somewhere with poor reception, you're not going to be able to process them credit cards and stuff, or have to go outside, leave your table just so you can get reception. You don't want to be bothered with all that. So make sure you have, you know, make sure everything is cool on that tip. And then make sure that outlets are plentiful too, because, you know, people going to need to charge their phones too. So you want to have something, you just want people to be comfortable, you know. So these are just some tips that I just wanted to give for hosting events or even being a vendor. So, you know, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm just sharing what's worked for me in the past. So, yeah. And I already went over making sure, you know, checking the calendar for dates and stuff, because you don't want to host an event where somebody else is hosting a similar event. Then people going to have to pick and choose, and then you might not get the turnout that you want, you know. That happened to me one time. I had hosted an event, and I always look at the calendar, see if anything else is going on that day, because I want to know what I'm up against as far as competition or whatever. So come to find out, it was another person was having an event, but they didn't advertise, you know, really. And so I felt bad, because I'm like, dang, you know, I'm like, if I'd have known that something else was going on, I wouldn't have picked this date or whatever. I don't know who decided their date first, you know, because normally when I decide a date, it's like 2 months, 2-3 months in advance. So I don't know, but I try not to let that happen. And so, and then as far as advertising too, like when I hosted events in the past, I would advertise all over social media. I would go to like a lot of small businesses and post flyers and stuff. And you'll find that a lot of small businesses are very supportive too. So I would go to like a lot of small businesses and post flyers and things like that. And I would advertise. I would start shopping for vendors probably like about 2 months before the event. Usually it's about 2 months before I decide I'm going to host an event. I give it like a 2-month notice. I'll start advertising for vendors, and then I'll give the vendors a deadline to have their money turned in, because that way I can include their name on the flyer as far as what vendors will be present. Because, you know, that's good publicity too for business owners too, because, you know, seeing your name in print, that's a good feeling. And then that kind of shows, you know, that looks good on your little vendor resume, I guess, you know, business resume. So I would have them, you know, put their name on the flyer and stuff. Now, I would have some vendors that pay after the deadline. Now, if you pay after the deadline, I can't keep re-editing that flyer. So, you know, if you haven't had your money turned in by this date, then, you know, you could be a part of the event if I got the room, but your name may not be listed on the flyer. And then from there, I would advertise. I would like advertise for like a good 30 days, because when I'm done advertising, everybody and their mama gonna know about this event. I mean, you may choose not to show up. That's on you, but it ain't because you didn't know about it. And I think I did an exceptional job of advertising. So, yeah, so that's all I wanted to include, about, hosting events the Mika J way. So, thank you all for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. It's Mika J. Holler, follow, and subscribe.